Hello there, good evening. How are you? My name's Helen Harrison and I'm from Power of Change Counselling and Coaching. And tonight I'm going to be talking, I've got a really great topic. It's all about being more motivated and, having more joy in your life. And so you might be asking yourself, well, that's all well and good, Helen, but how do I let go of resentment? I talk a lot about resentment because resentment actually holds us back from creating a life that we desire, that we want, that we dream about, that we imagine. So it's really important, just checking everything's on, which it is, it's really important that to be happy, how do I stop being so overwhelmed? So that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. How do I let go of the resentment? How can I speak up while trying to keep other people happy? I hear that a lot also. So most of us do understand that, to have a contented life, to feel empowered in ourselves, we have to let go of the resentment, which is absolutely crucial. So let's be honest. Without a flow of conversation and learning how to speak up, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to let go of resentment. So when it comes to letting go of resentment, I see that there are three main challenges. There's the emotional attachment, there's the fear of vulnerability, and also rebuilding trust. So tonight I'm going to talk about those, and I'm going to talk about the actions that will actually move resentment, because it's actually got to be a conscious decision. So I'm sharing the behind the scenes. I'll call them secrets. How to get rid of this flood of resentment, because it often, for a lot of people, it is a flood of resentment. So it just becomes a bit of a trickle. So with that trickle, you are much better able to manage that resentment. So tonight you're going to actually learn the proven 3-step formula, the AIP, sorry. So, and this is all about admitting that you are actually living with resentment. Also, the exact simple process that what I've used to let go of resentment, because I lived in resentment for many years. I know this topic really well. Yes, I work as a therapist and a coach. That is my profession, that's my calling, that's my career. But to actually be able to move it yourself personally is a whole different conversation. So I'm going to share with you what I have done, and it has worked. It has helped me. It's been profound. And also the 5 essential elements of contentment and happiness. So if you actually want to make shifts in your life, it is possible through this live. There will be a nugget of gold. There will be something that just lands that you go, yeah, okay, this is actually speaking to me, and I can actually take this away and I can begin using this right here and right now. Because I think you'd have to agree, we are bombarded. I just know, I just connect with my phone and I'm flooded with information and different ways, and it can all get a little bit overwhelming. And so I just keep coming back to slicing it really, really thin. Just something will land there. I call it a nugget of gold. Something will resonate with you, with what I'm going to talk about in a moment. And then you can begin working with that. And then from that, you can then add to it. So if you're listening to this, I'd love to know that you're here. So hashtag live. If this is the replay, hashtag replay. I love answering the comments. If you've got any questions, I get to it. It's really important for me to sort of hear if I'm on the right line or target, which I think I am. Am I speaking? Because the whole reason I bring this is there's this real driver in me to actually share what I've learned about myself, but also working with other couples. I'm a marriage therapist, but I'm also a coach and working with women. So I'm not seeing. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Kim. So lovely to see you. Fantastic to have you. I just had to put you down on my screen so I could see you. Fantastic. It's so good. Okay, so I'm going to just dive straight in and go to the three main challenges that I see with resentment. And like I say firsthand, I know this. So the first thing is the emotional attachment that we get to our resentment. As odd as that sounds, resentment often stems from an emotional attachment of past hurt or grievances. So letting go of the resentment actually requires you to detach yourself emotionally from the negative experiences. Easier said than done. This is, like I say, something that I've had to actually really consciously make a decision to do. So it's noticing when you are feeling angry, when you've got that resentment, when you feel hurt, when you're feeling that betrayal. So it's actually feeling it in the body. I've just come off my inner circle group and we were talking a lot this evening about embodiment. So for a lot of us, until we decide to consciously live, we live in the head up. And what I mean by that is that you're just in the mind. You're in, often called the monkey mind. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of stuff going on. And until we decide to actually begin healing, we have to get out of the head and get connected into the body. You've probably heard of that mind-body connection. It's absolutely crucial. To be able to let go of the emotional attachment, you actually have to feel that emotion in your body and then begin moving that. So the feelings, the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, whatever is there. And until you can drop into the body and feel that, you're not going to realize or recognize that emotional attachment. So this can stem way back to when we're actually really, really little, where we disassociate when we're little because we don't know how to be with strong feelings that are in our body. So that's my number one, the emotional attachment, and learning how to drop into the body and to begin feeling that. So my second way, or these are the three main challenges. So the second challenge is the vulnerability. It's the fear of vulnerability. So releasing resentment often involves being vulnerable and actually opening oneself up to forgiveness or reconciliation, first with yourself. So being vulnerable is just profound. I'll never forget, I was in my early 30s and I started seeing a counsellor. It was the first time in my life that I had found the courage, because I know how much courage it takes to actually sit in a room and be vulnerable. And I remember her saying to me, so what's brought you here, Helen? Why are you here? And I just started crying. I became really emotional because I had somebody in front of me who was actually listening, who was validating my feelings. But it was this fear of vulnerability, of exposing my inner world, and how confronting that actually was. So releasing resentment often involves being vulnerable. And I know working with couples and working with men, they often find that extraordinarily hard to be vulnerable, particularly with another human being, and particularly a female. And so I really do get this. But a challenge of being able to let go of resentment is you have to drop into that vulnerability. You just have to. There is no way around this, I'm afraid. If any of this is speaking to you, I'd love to hear in the comments, that fear of vulnerability or that emotional attachment. So the last main challenge in being able to let go of resentment is to be able to rebuild trust. So if this resentment that you're carrying in your body, if this stems from a breach of trust, rebuilding trust can be a really significant challenge. So, for a lot of us, trust wasn't even something that we know about. So if you were raised in a family where there was an interruption to trust, perhaps, you know, there was abuse, there was a lot of conflict, if there was addiction, if you were raised by parents who are very disassociated, who are unconscious, who are emotionally unavailable, how do you trust? Because you've got to adjust yourself to be around that parent. And so the rebuilding of trust, you know, I see it, I work in couples therapy, and when there's a betrayal, if you actually haven't healed a lot of your childhood stuff, that all comes up in the betrayal of whatever's going on in present days. So if your partner has betrayed you, all of that childhood stuff will come up as well. And I'm not sharing this with you to scare you, but this is a challenge of resentment, is to be able to be open to start looking at how do I connect with that trust. You know, letting go of resentment while still protecting oneself from also future harm actually requires you to find a balance between forgiveness and healthy boundaries. That's another whole discussion. But this is to be able to let go of resentment. These are 3 challenges that are very, very real. So where I want to go now is the actions that will move resentment. So this is a proven 3-step formula, AIP. So it's being able to admit that you are actually carrying resentment in your body. So whether it be resentment for yourself, or whether it be resentment of a partner or a parent or somebody outside of yourself. And Kim, you're saying totally get the need to rebuild trust after betrayal or deep pain. Absolutely. That's a big one, and that can take months, if not years. Absolutely. Rebuilding trust. And it's also the trust in being able to trust yourself. And I keep coming back to that head, heart, and gut connection and being able to do that. But anyway, so the AIP, the A of the AIP is acknowledging, being able to acknowledge your feelings, recognizing and accepting what you're feeling, the resentment towards yourself. That's a big topic, and in this live I don't have all of the time that I need to actually express this. The resentment that we can have for ourselves can be lifelong until we consciously, consistently want to make a change. So it's okay to experience negative emotions. That's part of being a human. But the key with this is to be able to acknowledge them. This is the first step towards finding resolution, to be able to let go of resentment, because it begins with you first. So that's the A. The I is identifying the source. So what I mean by this is trying to understand why you feel resentment towards yourself. Is it due to a past mistake? Is it a missed opportunity? Or is it an unmet expectation? Or should you be further along in your life? Often identifying the source, generally it begins from outside of yourself. You're resentful of a partner, of what they're doing or not doing, the expectation you have on the partner. But if you've done any type of work with me, you will know that the first step is to unhook from the resentment that you have outside of yourself and dig a bit deeper within yourself. I call it the nuggets of gold. Finding the resentment that you have towards yourself, that is the place to begin. So identifying the source can help you gain clarity and also insight into your own feelings. And the AIP, the P, is to practice the self-compassion. And as a human being, if you Google self-compassion for yourself, it's one of the hardest things as a human being to do. This is something that I have had to work tirelessly with. And am I getting better at it? Yes, I am. It has taken me a really long time. It's treating myself with kindness, So do you treat yourself with kindness and understanding, remembering that we all make mistakes and we all have areas of improvement, remembering that everyone, we have resentment, but what we do with that, so it's being gentle with yourself and it's practicing self-care. I'll share, this morning I was practicing, so like I said, I have it in a circle group coaching, and I have not been into IT. So today, one of my little goals that I set myself was teaching myself the breakout rooms. It was learning how to put the music on when people go into the self-reflective space, and to be able to put the timer on. Now, the IT in me, I would go into overwhelm. I'd have anxiety. I'd have major issues. And I did that today, and I thought, man, I've come a long way. And the self-compassion that I have for myself now with anything IT is I don't go to the panic and the anxiety that I used to go to. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked. I will keep going. So that's the AIP, practicing self-compassion. If any of this is relating to you, or if you can sort of really resonate, do you practice self-compassion? Do you identify your source of where perhaps your resentment is coming from? Do you acknowledge your feelings? Can you relate to any of this? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And whether you're listening to this live or this is the replay. So just on that note, I actually have if you want to explore this more, I've got Design Your Best Life coming up. And this is where if you want to actually add deliberate action steps in pursuing this, if you want to know, I suppose, the right mindset and having a proven system is what I'm trying to get across. I'm no good at this selling thing, but anyway, I just want to let you know I've got Design Your Best Life coming up next month. And if you're wanting a proven system to actually explore this inner world of yourself, look, direct message me and I'll send you the details, because it is a great program. And having a proven system, I know, it's being able to implement a step-by-step processes which helps you establish more self-awareness. Anyway, I'm really getting off track. Okay, I want to talk into the exact simple process that I use to let go of my resentment. And you know what? It was a decision to live consciously. I know that seems very simple, very easy, but it was a conscious decision. I recognized and I admitted to myself how much resentment I had inside of me. And so I had to learn how to release the negative feelings that would come up quite regularly. And I had to free myself from the burden of resentment. Resentment is a heavy, dark, exhausting energy. And if you don't get to it, it can make you ill. It can make you cranky. You become like half glass full. I don't want to go into that energy because it's not a great energy and I'm running out of time. But it's a conscious decision. That is how I got there. It was a cost to my health, fatigue. I felt powerless and a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. So it was a conscious decision to let go of the resentment. So let's dive into the 5 essential elements for contentment and happiness. So my number 1 is self-esteem and self-confidence. It is crucial. Direct message me. I will send you how well do you know yourself. It's a great little worksheet where I ask you a lot of questions, and that's going to help you explore your self-esteem and self-confidence. So that's my number 1. My number 2 is gratitude. Get your gratitude practice happening. It is crucial to practice gratitude. When you're having a crappy day, it is the most easiest emotion and energy to connect with. Be grateful. Be grateful for your arms, for your breath, for the shoes on your feet, for the cup of coffee in front of you, for the chair that you're sitting in. really drop into and start practicing gratefulness. That is a great way to start moving resentment. My number 3, meaning and purpose. You know, when I was going through the ending of my marriage, I knew that I had to connect with meaning and purpose. That is what was going to help me energetically. Yes, I was letting go of a 30-year relationship, but I also, parallel with that, had and did connect very regularly with my meaning and purpose. And that's how help keep my head above water. Hugely powerful. My 4th is positive relationships. Have a look who's in your world. Who's a vampire? Who's a Drano? Who saps the friggin' energy out of you? Let them go. I know that sounds really quite a bit harsh, but if you actually want to let go of resentment, you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people. And I know I've had different periods in my life where I've had to let go of those people in my world because vibrationally it was exhausting me. My number 5 in how do you get your essential elements of contentment and happiness? My number 5 is your self-care and your well-being. It is crucial. And we talk about this in my group coaching constantly. This is why I have my weekly inner circle group coaching, because it's this constant self-care, and having compassion for ourselves is a really difficult thing. So, yeah, look, I know I'm just about out of time. Yes, I am. So look, my key in bringing this to you, I hope you've got a nugget of gold. I hope something has landed. I'd love to hear what it was. What was the 3 again? Yes, that's Danielle. So the 3, you must be talking about the AIP, the acknowledge your feelings, identify the source, and practice self-compassion. That's the 3-step formula. And also, direct message me if you would like to know more about the Design Your Best Life, or if you actually want to get the how well do you know yourself, I can send that through to you. That can be really quite helpful, because it's the quality of questions you ask yourself. Because, you know, we're all in this journey, aren't we? And at the end of the day, it's learning how to be your best friend. It's not lying to yourself. It's not betraying yourself. It's not walking out on yourself. Kim, you're saying this has been a great topic. Thank you. Started journaling again, and I've already noticed a difference in how I'm feeling. Yeah, I love journaling. Actually, I journaled today, Kim. In the middle of the day, because I'm working a bit later, so I took some time and I did a meditation and journaling like you're saying, and I love it because it helps me just come home. It helps me be my best friend, and at the end of the day, it's being able to unhook from all of those patterns of getting our validation from outside of ourselves, getting our self-worth from outside of ourselves, our esteem from outside of ourselves. It's being able to get that from within ourselves, and then from there you'll see how much resentment can be there. Anyway, I can yak on about this topic all night, but I'm going to love you and leave you. And, you know, I always end with, you know, the power of change is within you. And so I encourage you to expand into abundance, success, and love. And on that note, love that you've all been here on this Facebook, Face Live, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I will see you next Thursday, and love you and leave you. See you.